Okay.
I'm not signing nothing.
Okay.
I've been through the system, buddy. I know how it
you
works.
have. I know you have.
You're
Jeff.
not my friend.
Yes,
All
you-
you're trying to get is some stupid ass confession, and you're not gonna get one.
On what seemed like an ordinary evening in 2011, alarm bells began ringing at a local 7-Eleven, and reports of an armed robbery started flooding into the local police department. However, when officers arrived at the scene, the suspect was nowhere to be found. After expanding their search, police heard commotion coming from a nearby house. With no other leads, they stormed in and discovered a known heroin addict sitting inside with a gun. Without any other evidence, they arrested the man and took him to the station for questioning. This addict was Jeff Pearson, the man who committed the robbery, and what happened next went down in history as one of the rare occasions where a single man outsmarted the police at their own game, all while experiencing horrific heroin withdrawals. This is what happens when a suspect outsmarts the cops. The next 24 hours were captured on police cameras in the interrogation room, but unlike most similar footage, it was initially uploaded to the suspect's own YouTube channel on September 25th, 2011. This was the first sign that Jeff would become a cult figure and a legend within the interrogation community. Jeff was held in police custody for almost an entire day, but all the footage from the 3 interrogation sessions amounted to barely 15 minutes. Since the robbery and arrest took place in the state of Georgia, the usual minimum sentence would be around 10 years imprisonment, with a maximum of life without parole. However, it turned out that Jeff wouldn't serve a single day in jail. Instead of spending decades behind bars, he spent a day being served drinks and candy while delivering a masterclass in how to handle being in police custody. The following footage shows us in stunning detail the methods the cops will try on you and how to dodge them like a true professional. The footage starts with Jeff Pearson in a small, windowless room dressed in prison clothes. It's clear that he had already been processed and spent some time in a cell, likely while the police were gathering evidence and preparing to interrogate him.
Am I under arrest?
For now.
I'm under arrest?
Yeah, I'll explain everything, but before I explain myself to you, before we talk to each other, I need to read your rights, okay?
What am I under arrest for?
Well, like I said, I need to read your rights first. Obviously, the charge is robbery, okay? Yeah, I'll explain everything.
I'm under arrest for robbery?
You are, but let me read your rights real quick, okay? And then I'll explain it all to you. Is that okay? You let me do that real fast? All right, Jeff.
Jeff immediately asks if he is under arrest and for what reason. From the outset, it's evident that Jeff has done his research because this is exactly what you should do in such a situation. From here, there are 2 options. If you are not being arrested or detained, you can state that you are not obligated to stay and answer questions, and you should be free to leave the interrogation. If you are being arrested, you can then immediately ask for a lawyer and stay silent until you are provided with one. These options give you the best chance of stopping the police in their tracks and creating the best possible defense. Interestingly, when you are arrested in the US, the police are legally obligated to remind you of this. Listen to the Miranda warning that this detective reads to Jeff.
Before we ask you any questions, you must understand what your rights are. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we question you, and have him or her with you during questioning. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer and you want one, a lawyer will be provided for you. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you'll still have the right to stop answering questions at any time. You also have the right to stop answering at any time that you want until you talk to the lawyer. Does that make sense? You've probably heard these before, haven't you?
These 3 points are incredibly important and are often overlooked by the average citizen due to the panic of being arrested. Additionally, because we hear these lines so frequently in police shows and movies, most people completely glaze over them when their rights are read and fail to recognize that they are being provided with useful information that helps them stay safe and protected while in police custody. What this detective didn't mention, though, is that if you ask for a lawyer while under arrest, they are not allowed to continue questioning you, and you have an unquestionable right to refuse to answer any questions until you are provided with an attorney. The detective also ends the reading of rights with a snide remark about Jeff's past, intended to subconsciously remind him that he is a previously convicted criminal.
Do you understand your rights? Do you understand your rights, Jeff? Yes or no? You understand?
We're getting paid more than you are, so we can sit here for a long time, man.
I just need you to answer me yes or no. Do you understand your rights? Let's get through that question. Do you understand what I read you? Did you comprehend what I read you?
Jeff has been explicitly told he has the right to remain silent, so that's exactly what he's doing here. The lead detective leans back in his chair, a move meant to show he's unconcerned with Jeff's silence and can stay there as long as necessary, but body language like this usually indicates some form of unrest. It's clear that the detective knows this will be a challenging few hours for them.
If you got something that says you didn't do this robbery, this is your chance to talk to us.
Okay, good cop.
No, usually I'm the prick.
You look like the prick.
I am.
If it's about dominance, Jeff just took everything the cops had and dumped it in the trash.
I'm not asking if you want to talk to me at this point. I just want to know, do you understand what I read to you?
So am I under arrest?
Yes, you're under arrest.
Get me back to the cell. I don't talk to you motherfuckers.
Okay, there you go.
In this first round of interrogation, Jeff exhibited exactly the right behavior given his circumstances. He knows the cops have nothing on him, or they wouldn't be there talking to him in the first place. So he stays silent and is sent back to his cell. However, 2 hours later, he was brought back to the same room for a second interrogation.
You wanted a Coke?
Yeah.
You gonna be able to pop it open, or you need me to?
I need methadone.
You need methadone?
Yeah, you guys can get me that methadone?
I don't have any. Do you have medication for it, or a prescription for it? Or?
No.
What do you need methadone for?
Because I'm a fucking junkie, and you guys, I can't get no methadone. I'm gonna go through withdrawal here in a minute.
Where do you usually get your methadone from?
I don't get it. I get heroin.
A can of soda was all Jeff requested before returning to the interrogation room, but he immediately mentioned the withdrawal symptoms he might have started feeling. However, methadone, the drug Jeff asked for at the beginning of this conversation, can significantly reduce the effects of withdrawal, even cravings he's likely been experiencing throughout his time in police custody.
How long you been using heroin?
Long time, buddy.
10 years? 15 years?
I hardly been alive that long. What are you trying to talk to me about here?
Talk to you about what happened last night. Look, here's the deal. Either you're in a bad set of circumstances, or you went and committed an armed robbery last night.
Yeah,
right?
I'm in a shitty, wrong place at the wrong time, obviously. I didn't commit no fucking armed robbery.
All right, then let's talk about this. Let's
I
not
don't have
keep
nothing.
up
I
the
don't talk
act.
to the police, man.
Jeff is clearly fed up with personal conversation and wants to get back to the main issue. In his eyes, he's been arrested for something he didn't do and wants out of there as quickly as possible.
Okay.
I've been through the system, buddy. I know how
I know
it
you
works.
have. I know you have,
You're
Jeff.
not my friend.
I'm not your friend.
You're trying to fucking get me. Or you're
No,
trying
I'm not trying to get
all
you.
you're trying to get is some fucking stupid ass fucking confession, and you're not gonna get one.
Jeff, I'm not going to get a
'Cause-
confession out of you for nothing.
Exactly, because I
And
didn't
I'm
do
not
nothing.
trying to get a confession out of you.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you, I didn't commit no armed robbery, and y'all ain't got no fucking evidence saying I did. Let me go. All you did is find me sitting in my buddy's house because my fucking buddy's dog's going ape shit. I go outside, there are cops everywhere, and they spotlight me. They say, "Come here." I say, "What's up?" They search me. They ain't
Hang
find
on.
nothing. What's
Let
up?
me read this.
No,
Yes.
because I'm not gonna sign it.
You don't have to sign it. But let me read it for you. Okay?
I'm not signing nothing.
You don't have to sign it.
The irony of this cop saying he's not trying to get a confession from Jeff while he has him handcuffed in the interrogation room is quite amusing. But through all of this, every part of what Jeff said here is so perfect, it almost sounds rehearsed. It's an incredible display of personal legal defense, even more impressive considering Jeff is almost certainly beginning to experience withdrawal symptoms. I also want to emphasize the point Jeff made about how the police are simply trying to coerce a confession from him. One of the main techniques used in these interrogations is the Reed technique, developed by a former cop and psychologist in the 1960s after he extracted a confession from a man accused of murdering his own wife. The technique consists of 9 steps, starting with a polite discussion about why the suspect is accused, followed by using certain body language and actions during the interrogation as signs of guilt. The method ends with offering the suspect 2 alternative statements they can agree with, one of which is more acceptable than the other, but whichever is chosen admits guilt and is counted as a confession. This method forces the suspect into a corner and is exceedingly good at extracting false confessions from innocent suspects. In fact, the original case around which this technique was developed fell apart after discovering that the man did not actually kill his wife and was tricked into giving a false confession. Truly, a next-level gaslighting.
Tell me what happened last night. Plain and simple. Your side of the story.
I'm not talking to you. I'm a lawyer.
All right. This is what I don't understand. I know, but this is what I don't understand, Jeff. You were sitting there talking just like you were ready to sit here and tell me what happened last night, and then all of a sudden I read that to you, and you screw it, I ain't talking to you. I want a lawyer. I don't understand that. What changed?
Because I told you what. I already told you what happened.
You didn't.
How didn't I?
You didn't tell me what happened last night.
How didn't I just tell you what?
But now you've handcuffed me, and I can't talk to you because you asked for an attorney. So okay, that's fine. But I will tell you right now, you're still on a hold for a robbery.
I know. I don't know why I need a fucking lawyer because obviously I didn't do nothing. And obviously you guys know I didn't do nothing because I've been arrested for the same bullshit before and you guys don't interview me this much. So, wham bam, thank you for the coke, put me back in the cell. That's my home.
We haven't interviewed you yet.
That's my home.
All right.
Jeff has now requested a lawyer and once again refused to answer questions, but we're only halfway through this footage, and Jeff's ability to defend himself and completely break the police tactics is only getting better from here.
I have enough evidence
Like what?
of the armed robbery, okay? But, you know, if you're saying you didn't do it, you need to give me your side of the story.
I didn't do it.
Okay, well, give me your side of the story. You got, convince me. Because I got a lot of evidence. I got a lot of physical evidence.
Well, like what? Name the physical.
Well, I don't need to, why should I tell you that? I mean, you haven't been helpful to me at all.
Because I don't believe that you got any evidence.
This is when the detective begins to get desperate. He knows he's running out of time and has completely abandoned any elaborate techniques or methods to try and get information from Jeff. Instead, he resorts to almost just threatening Jeff with false claims about evidence that he could easily use to convict him. If all of this were true, he'd likely be trying to use it to intimidate Jeff into panicking and giving up more information, but instead he uses flimsy rhetoric, stating that because Jeff isn't helping him, he won't help Jeff.
There's only a couple pieces of evidence I'm missing.
Name them.
What's that?
Name them.
Well, why do I need to do that? You haven't helped me out at all. You give me a little bit, I give you a little bit. We go back and forth. I give you one of my pieces of evidence, and I give me a little something. All right?
This further confirms that the police have absolutely nothing to convict Jeff with, and also shows that they know their time is running out. Jeff has asked for a lawyer, yet they're still sitting there questioning him, as if that's not a blatant violation of the rights they've read to Jeff on 3 separate occasions. They know that if they don't get anything out of him soon, their time will run out, and Jeff is watching the clock closely. For the next 4 minutes of the interrogation, Jeff continues to remain silent.
I mean, every little stupid thing that you've asked me, dude, is going to be in the discovery.
I'm not even going to do discovery.
The prosecutor is.
Okay. So, you halfway know the system, how things work, and you halfway don't. Am I right?
I half-ass know that the only reason I came up here is to get a fucking Coke.
Okay.
And I got it, but now I want a Butterfinger.
But that's not going to happen for a while.
What, the Butterfinger?
Yeah.
Why not?
2 hours later, he's recorded as being released from custody and sent home. It's also reported that from here on, Jeff began to turn his life around. He's off heroin and now spends his time uploading videos to the same YouTube channel where this footage was uploaded. He makes music and even shares additional tips on how to avoid police tactics. Do you understand the details of Jeff Pearson's case? Let me summarize it for you once more. In 2011, Jeff Pearson, a known heroin addict, was arrested after police responded to an armed robbery at a 7-Eleven and found him in a nearby house with a gun. Despite being in heroin withdrawal, Jeff outsmarted the police during interrogation and didn't confess. Jeff's interrogation was uploaded to his YouTube channel, showing his masterful handling of police tactics. He consistently asked if he was under arrest, requested a lawyer, and remained silent, frustrating the detectives. The police used the Reed technique, aiming to extract a confession through psychological manipulation and presenting false evidence. Jeff, however, remained steadfast, knowing his rights and not falling for their tactics. Throughout 3 interrogation sessions, Jeff maintained his innocence and refused to sign any documents, emphasizing the lack of evidence against him. The detectives' increasingly desperate attempts failed to elicit a confession. After 24 hours in custody, Jeff was released without charges. He later turned his life around, quitting heroin and continuing to upload videos on YouTube where he shares insights on dealing with police interrogations. Lessons from the Jeff Pearson case: navigating police interrogations and legal rights ***. The case of Jeff Pearson serves as an important example of how individuals can effectively navigate police interrogations and assert their legal rights. This case, which unfolded in 2011, saw Jeff Pearson, a known heroin addict, being arrested and questioned for an armed robbery he did not commit. Despite his vulnerability and the pressure exerted by the police, Pearson managed to defend himself adeptly, ultimately securing his release without any charges. This incident highlights several critical lessons that are valuable for anyone who might find themselves in a similar situation. Understanding your rights. One of the most important lessons from Pearson's case is the importance of understanding and asserting your legal rights. In the United States, individuals have certain protections under the Constitution, particularly under the Fifth and Sixth Amendments. The Fifth Amendment grants the right to remain silent to avoid self-incrimination, while the Sixth Amendment guarantees the right to legal counsel. Pearson's immediate reaction upon being questioned was to ask if he was under arrest and on what grounds. This demonstrated his awareness of the legal process and his rights. If you are not under arrest, you are generally not obligated to stay and answer questions. If you are under arrest, you should immediately ask for a lawyer and remain silent until one is provided. These steps are crucial in protecting oneself from potential coercion or manipulation during interrogations. The Miranda warning. Another key aspect highlighted by Pearson's case is the significance of the Miranda warning. This warning, which police are required to give during an arrest, informs individuals of their rights to remain silent and to have an attorney. However, the familiarity of these lines from television and movies often leads people to overlook their importance. In Pearson's case, the detective read him his Miranda rights, but Pearson's knowledge of these rights and his decision to invoke them played a critical role in his defense. It is essential to listen carefully to the Miranda warning and fully understand its implications. Once you request a lawyer, the police are not allowed to continue questioning you until your attorney is present. Remaining silent. Pearson's decision to remain silent and not provide any information without legal representation is a textbook example of exercising the right to remain silent. During interrogations, it is common for police officers to use various techniques to elicit confessions, even from innocent individuals. These techniques can include psychological pressure, leading questions, and presenting false evidence. By remaining silent and not engaging in conversation with the detectives, Pearson avoided falling into these traps. This approach can be difficult, especially under the stress and anxiety of being in police custody, but it is often the best course of action. Silence cannot be used against you in court, but anything you say can be. Requesting legal counsel. Requesting an attorney is a critical step that Pearson took to protect his rights. Having legal representation ensures that you have someone knowledgeable about the law and experienced in dealing with police tactics to guide you through the process. An attorney can help prevent self-incrimination and ensure that your rights are not violated during the interrogation. In Pearson's case, despite requesting a lawyer, the detectives continued to question him, which is a violation of his rights. Knowing when and how to assert your right to legal counsel is essential. If the police continue to question you after you have requested an attorney, it is important to repeat your request and remain silent until your lawyer arrives. Recognizing coercive techniques. The Pearson case also sheds light on the coercive techniques police may use during interrogations.